just be careful chasing things here. This is where people start to kind of, oh my gosh, I'm missing it. I've got to get it. That fear of missing out. That's where this starts to really kind of come into place. We've had a nice correction here. We'll eventually break out, probably try to move a bit higher from here, but just be careful chasing right here. Here's what you need to know before the bell this morning. Between December and the beginning of January, the stocks were kind of selling off. Lots of bearish headlines, right? Market's over, AI's dead, nobody wants to own technology, the Mag 7's underperforming. How things change very quickly. We are now back at all-time highs as of yesterday. So just in the span of just a week and a half here, and a lot of this holiday driven as well, we have not only rallied back above moving averages and have turned moving averages back up higher. We are now challenging all-time highs. Now, don't be surprised this morning we have a little bit weak futures opening. I wouldn't be surprised to see the markets kind of stall here a little bit, digest some of this recent run. We are overbought on a short-term basis. So, again, just be careful chasing stocks here. I do think we're ultimately going to break out here and probably try to move a little bit higher here in the next week or so. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of positive momentum behind the markets right now. Sentiment is turning up. We have seen a lot of that kind of negative sentiment that we saw building with investors over the last really few weeks starting to turn around here. I'm sure that and again, this is part in our daily market commentary that went out this morning. We've got a couple of our gauges that are on SimpleVisor showing both fear and greed in terms of allocation and technical overbought, oversold levels are at levels that historically have supported these types of rallies. And there's more to go for that. So, but again, just as we were just saying a second ago, just be careful chasing things here. This is where people start to kind of, oh my gosh, I'm missing it. I've got to get it. That fear of missing out. That's where this starts to really kind of come into place. We've had a nice correction here. We'll eventually break out, probably try to move a bit higher from here, but just be careful chasing right here. Pick your entry points as always. Look for opportunities. Recently we talked about buying Palantir in our portfolio after it had a 20% correction. Look for those entry points, and that's what happens during these consolidations and corrections. That's where you get your entry points. And what happens with most people is they don't buy here. They want to buy after things start to break out and have big moves. And this is kind of typical of overall investor behavior. So use weakness in markets as opportunities to pick up positions. Use rallies, as we've talked about over the last few days, to analyze your portfolio. And again, as we said yesterday, this is a great time right here. Nice big rally here. A lot of stocks have recovered. Go look at your portfolio today. What didn't recover with this rally? That's probably something you need to think about, maybe reducing in your portfolio, trimming out entirely, unless it's there for a reason. Again, some positions are okay to have if they're a hedge against risk. That's completely fine. But just make sure that you're not calling a bad position a hedge just because it's not working. Right? It has to have a reason that it's a hedge. What's it hedging against, right? Volatility risk, interest rate risk, whatever it is. But just because a position is underperforming doesn't mean it's a hedge. So, there's a difference between a good hedge and a bad investment, and just make sure you understand the actual difference of that. Just very quickly as we wrap up, one thing here is that also volatility is continuing to decline. Again, that's a bullish sign. Volatility tends to, track kind of where markets are. And again, as markets continue to rally, volatility, that fear gauge continues to decline. So again, there is support here for a further rally. So expect that to happen. But again, just kind of pick your entry points and rebalance risk as you need to go along. All right, that wraps up what you need to know before the bell this morning.